So there's a piece of software that thousands of agencies use daily to run their entire business. It's done more than $500 million in sales through it, and they've made lots of recent updates too. It's called Wayfront, and I decided to take a deeper look inside to see what it has to offer. If you're new here, I'm Mike and I run a digital marketing agency offering services like web design, SEO, automation, amongst other things like running pay-per-click and ads. Over the years, I've worked alongside many freelancers and agencies. And for some, I think this software is genuinely a no-brainer for you. And for others, I think it might not be the right tool for you. So stick around and I'll explain exactly why. So this channel is where I'll review the tools I actually use to run my agency. But just a quick bit of honesty before we make a start. Wayfront are paying me to make this video, but the terms outlined are simple. I only do these reviews if I can give you the good and the bad. And I want to be completely transparent. So that's exactly what this is. If I don't think it's the right fit for you, I'll tell you. And if I think there's room for improvement on any of the tools I review, I'll also say that too. Right, now that's covered, let's get into it. So what is it? Wayfront used to be called SPP, or Service Provider Pro. They rebranded back in February 2026. I actually used to use this tool a couple of years back when it was Service Provider Pro. It's the same product, but a new name and new branding. A far better name and branding in my opinion. Plus, there's a few new features which I'll come on to as well. At its core, Wayfront is a client portal and an operating system for agencies that sell what are known as productized services. If that phrase means nothing to you, it means instead of quoting every job from scratch, you sell packages. Say a monthly SEO package, or you've got a set price for a logo design, a content subscription, sort of like repeatable stuff. And Wayfront is built to run all of that from one place, and it does so very well. It replaces about 5 separate tools. So you've got the white label client portal, so your clients log in and see their orders, their invoices and their files all under your brand. And then you've got billing and subscriptions. So it takes every payment and then rebills them every month if that's what you want to do. There's also a CRM, intake forms to take the order, a help desk for support, and even what's really good and a new feature is a referral and affiliate program with tracking. All of that in one login. And I'd say that's the main selling point. You can start to see now that you need just this one tool instead of maybe 6. I sort of see it as your agency's HQ, so a platform online where you and your clients provide information to deliver services without the need for like tedious back and forth. Now, before I go feature by feature, let me show you how it actually works, because once this clicks, the whole thing starts to make sense. So it all starts with your services. You build out everything you sell as a productized service. A fixed package at a fixed price. That can be a one-off like a website build, or it could be a subscription like a monthly SEO retainer. Then for each service you build a form, and this is the bit I think which is incredibly useful, because you get an order form to actually sell those services and then an intake form to capture everything you need to deliver those services. And you can drop that order form anywhere that your clients may be. So by that I mean you can embed it on your website or stick it behind maybe an order now or start now button or buy now button. The client clicks that, then they pick the service and you can offer them the upsells right there. And then they sign the agreement if you need them to, literally like written signature, and then they pay. So you can make that intake form as detailed as you like. Capture all the client info you need, whether that be the content outlines, their files, the logos, the photos you require for the service. Whatever you need to deliver that, you can put it on the form. So the money's in the bank first before you deliver the services. And because that form captures everything up front, it kills off all the back and forth and onboarding calls. So no more like, can you send me your logins or can you send me your logo? It's all in that one form. And that should mean you never get any finger pointing. You know, those emails that are like, we sent you this 3 weeks ago and you haven't done it yet. On here, both parties can see if any information hasn't been provided, or better, the fields can be made mandatory, so services can't actually progress if information hasn't been provided. So the second they pay, Wayfront automatically spins up the project, and you can add the tasks in there automatically, the steps, the deadlines, all that can be created from a template you set once per service. And those tasks, you can assign them to your team or directly to the client. So say, for example, you've kicked off a website build and you need them to do one step, which could be you need them to point the domain DNS records at your hosting. That's a task set on the client. But right there in the portal, they'll see that and then they'll get an email about it as well. So both sides know exactly where that service delivery is at. And the client gets their own login and portal. And this is where they can see their orders, their files, their invoices, but crucially for you, the other services that you sell. And this is the bit I really like. So say if you've signed them up for SEO, they can see your link building in there, maybe your digital PR, your pay-per-click services, email marketing, it's all sat right there in front of them. I personally see this as a bit of like an upsell engine built into the entire thing so that the clients are already logged into. That's obviously a very appealing thing. So that's the core of Wayfront. Sell it, capture it, deliver it, upsell it, all in one place. Everything else I'm about to show you hangs off of that. Now, so who's this actually for? If you run an agency selling packaged services, so SEO, content, social media, link building, video editing, that sort of thing, and you've got a few people on the team and enough clients that the admin is becoming a little bit of a nightmare, this is aimed directly at you. And one of the things I like most about Wayfront is that their team are constantly improving the tool. And where thousands of agencies are using this, it really feels like it's battle tested, it's stable and it's secure. And that's the thing which I think is most important to mention, because yes, we're in 2026, people can spin up some vibe coded portal, but when you're hosting clients' data and processing payments, and when your delivery comes through something like this, you want to feel a sense of confidence that this is going to reliably work. And Wayfront really does provide that confidence. So let me give you the good, because there's a lot of that. Building a branded client portal like this could cost you thousands and take months in reality. But here's everything you need, like right out the box. Your clients get everything they need all in one place. And it makes you look a little bit more established and professional and more buttoned up. You can even point your own custom domain at it. So alongside your logo and your branding, it all sits under one roof instead of being Wayfront branded. To your clients, I genuinely believe it feels like your own software. And again, there's value in that. The second thing is billing. It handles recurring subscriptions very well. If you've ever tried to chase monthly payments, you'll know that that's worth its weight in gold too. And one thing that comes up in basically every review I read, and I can vouch for it too, is the support is genuinely superb. You're talking to the people who built the tool, not like a script reading call center or just like an automated chatbot. The whole product really feels thought through and there's been a lot of time, care and attention gone into it. People describe Wayfront as the Shopify but for services, and that's a pretty fair shout in my opinion. Now this is the part I was most curious about during testing, and it's the bit I'd say I have most to say on, because it's where I spent a good amount of time. So since the rebrand, they're pushing Wayfront as an AI ready system. There are two halves to this. First, there's a little AI chat that can pop up inside the app. This is the type where you're probably familiar with. You type your question and it answers on the spot. It sounds small, but it really is very handy. So instead of firing off a support ticket and waiting, maybe via email or other, you just ask the thing there and then and get the answer. I used it and it saved me going to support on a few occasions. But the bit I loved is the MCP server. And if that means nothing to you, don't worry. It basically lets you connect Wayfront to a tool like Claude Code. And then you basically tell Claude Code what you want to do in plain English, and it will do it. And you can find that under the modules section within settings. So I hooked it up to Claude Code, my harness of choice, which took about a minute or so. And from there I could change just about anything I wanted in Wayfront just by typing what I wanted. I had it swap my brand logo, update the colours on the dashboard, rewrite my service descriptions, build intake forms, all from the terminal on my Mac. One example was I just told it to rewrite the copy on my Lite subscription, and literally 2 seconds later it's changed on the live site. So no need to click through the menus, which was one thing that stopped me using it before because it was quite a time-consuming task, uploading all the intake forms and the fields required. So for someone like me, this is absolutely brilliant. It's a huge time saver. Now, an honest point for you here, they did tell me the in-app agent chatbot should be able to do most, if not all, of what the MCP server does. Obviously, this is for people that don't want to use the MCP server or don't have the technical know-how using the terminal, etc., or harness like Claude Code. And in fairness, it does do a fair bit. but I found it noticeably easier and more capable going through the MCP directly. My guess is that the built-in agent maybe runs a lighter or cheaper model under the hood, maybe without reasoning capabilities, or it uses RAG on the internal documents. Not sure, but it's just not quite as sharp. And one thing that would really help is being able to upload a file or an image straight into that in-app agent. So you could say like drop in a new logo and have it swap it over right there. It's just text only in the chatbot at the minute. But I wouldn't be surprised if the team build this in right after watching this video, because that's how on it they are. Okay, now onto the CRM, and this is where Wayfront keeps everyone. Your contacts, your leads, your paying clients, that's all in one place. And it's not just a list of names either. So you can click into any one of those contacts and you've got their whole history, their orders, their invoices, their files, every message, even who's managing the account, all on the one record. And you can group people under a company too. So if a client's got 3 people who need access, they all sit under the one business. But the bit I like most is the sales pipeline. It's a kanban style board. So you drag a lead from one stage to the next as a client moves towards becoming a paying client. If you've ever used the HubSpot sales pipeline or Trello, it's the same sort of idea. And it's really handy for seeing where everyone's at a glance without living in one spreadsheet. This is probably my favourite way to display a sales pipeline and move people between the stages with that nice easy drag and drop feature. Now, is it going to replace a fully dedicated sales CRM like HubSpot? If you're running like heavy outbound, probably not. It's a little bit lighter than that, but for keeping your clients and their work and their money in one tidy place, it does that job nicely. And that Kanban style board is a genuinely handy touch too. Something a lot of people might miss is the inbuilt referral and affiliate side. You can turn your own clients or outside affiliates into a nice little sales team for you. It's very easy to switch on and anyone can become an affiliate. There's no approval needed if you don't want it, and each one gets their own unique referral link to share straight out of the box. So you can set the reward. I set mine to a flat 10% commission, only paid out once the person they refer actually pays their first invoice. So you're never paying for a referral that doesn't convert. And then you get a dashboard showing who referred who and exactly what you owe them. For something that's just bundled into the entire package, it's a proper little system. No separate affiliate tool or extra subscription needed. If word of mouth is a great source of new business for you, I'd lean into this. Just like it is for me and the agency I run, I would use this feature a lot. Next up is the reporting section, and this one surprised me because it's not what I expected it to be like. So Wayfront has its own numbers on your dashboard, so your revenue, your active subscription, that sort of thing. But in my opinion, the clever bit is the client-facing side. So you can take a live report, like Looker Studio, it's called Data Studio now, or something like Agency Analytics, and embed that straight into the client portal as its own tab on the sidebar. And what that means is instead of needing to email a PDF every month, or sending your client some other tool just to see their numbers, as soon as they log in, they see that in their portal, so they can see maybe their live SEO reporting or a traffic dashboard sat right there for their Google Ads performance, all under your brand. It keeps the client in your world instead of them needing to bounce somewhere else, and it makes the whole thing feel like your software. Wayfront also plays nicely with the rest of your stack as it has around 40 integrations. Understandably, the ones that people most care about are Stripe and PayPal for making payment, Zapier for automating almost anything, plus Slack, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Google Analytics, Drive, Data Studio and Agency Analytics. One thing to note, Make, as in make.com, the heavier automation tool is on the Pro plan only. Overall, it's strongest where it matters the most, on payments and the main marketing tools. So for most agencies, your core stack is covered. And this next part matters because I've got to be straight with you. The catch is the price. Entry plan is on $99 a month. And the proper Pro plan, the one most agencies will actually want, is $249 a month. And for say a small shop or solo freelancer, that's not nothing. That's quite a big chunk of your costs on every single month before you've even paid yourself. And this is the one bit of honest feedback I'd give Chris, the founder and the team. And that's that there's nothing at the bottom end for someone starting out. What I'd love to see is maybe like a super light plan, something that's like $25, $35 a month for up to 5 clients, just to get a new freelancer through the door and then they can grow into the product. Right now, there's a gap between not ready for this yet and $99 a month. And a cheaper starter tier, I feel, would fit this quite nicely. So that leads me on to my honest take. For me personally, I probably wouldn't buy it. And I want to be really clear as to why. Not because it's bad at all, it's genuinely superb. It's that I'm technical, I build a lot of my own tools, and for what I'd pay over a year, I'd rather just build something myself that does exactly what I and my clients would need. If there was a lower pricing tier and a mobile app that our clients could use, that would greatly increase the likelihood of us using Wayfront. That MCP server bit I went on earlier got me closer to changing my mind than I expected to. The fact that I can drive the whole thing through Claude Code is exactly the sort of things that pulls someone like me who's a builder into the tool. So this is a much closer call than it would have been, say, a year ago. But when I add up a year of cost of Wayfront, I still land on the same side. But here's the thing, that's me. And honestly, most agency owners are not sat there wanting to build their own software. And honestly, I don't think they should be either. Your time is better spent with clients and doing the work and focusing on delivery. So that caveat is about me, not about the tool at all. I want to make that clear. The styling is a subtle other one. Out the box, it looks fairly plain. It's very clean and tidy, but it's not going to wow anyone. If you're a little bit fussy about design like I am, there's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes you want to touch more flair. So maybe some subtle animation, some depth, some personality in typefaces, in sizing of fonts, in headings. And I will mention, if you're not using those AI tools to help with the setup of the tool, there is a bit of a curve in setting up your dashboards and your forms, like your intake forms and your services. Getting those forms set up may take, say, a weekend, as opposed to a couple of hours. And as I mentioned, there's no proper mobile app either, so it's all done through the browser. None of those are deal breakers, but I thought it's only fair to mention them. I personally do a lot of work on mobile, as I'm doing a bit of gardening or something, or out and about, doing some shopping. And my clients, I know who are doing some serious C-suite exec jobs, they do too whilst they're on the move. I wouldn't be surprised if the Wayfront team makes this one of their next moves. That is what I'd love to see. So is it worth the money? Here's how I'd think about it. If that $249 a month replaces 3 or 4 other subscriptions you're already paying for, your portal tools, your billing tool, your reporting, say a help desk, then it can actually maybe save you money rather than cost you. But the maths only works out if you've got the client volume to justify that. 3 clients, it's probably overkill. 20 clients where you're drowning in admin, it might be the best money you spend for your agency. I'd say buy it if you've got a productized agency, you've got a team and a decent number of clients, and you're sick of like trying to duct tape different tools together. For you, it's a yes and the price pays for itself. But skip it if you're a solo freelancer just getting started, and if all your work is custom one-off projects rather than packages, or if you're technical enough or stubborn enough like me, build your own. That's my honest take. Worth it, but not for everyone. And don't let anyone tell you a tool is right for you just because it's good. The only question that should matter is whether it's right for your business. If you found this video useful, I'd love it if you could subscribe and support the channel. This is about the tools I use and my honest verdict on all of them. I won't just give you the hype, even when I am getting paid like this review. And if you've used Wayfront yourself, or the old Service Provider Pro as it was called, drop a comment and tell me how you got on. I read all of the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.